This is Matt from MGMT Boston. We are with Simon Taylor, the founder and CEO of HYCU. We're going to talk about what is going on, his vision for the year, as we walk through this entire month of April, spotlighting the HYCU leadership team, talk about what's going on in the startup today, what are some things he's seen change, and how we can help him and the rest of the HYCU team in Boston grow. Simon, thanks for being here.
Matt, it's great to be here as always, and thank you for having me back on.
Thanks for having us to your office. So first and foremost, tell us about the vision for the year 2025. Sure. There's so much going on in your company. Where are we going with HYCU?
You know, this is the year when HYCU becomes the world's #1 leader in SaaS data protection. You know, we talked last time about there being 30,000 SaaS services in the world and how the rest of the world is only protecting 5 of them.
Wow.
Well, HYCU is here today with 86 of those SaaS integrations. And like everybody else, we've been sort of thinking about what to do about the world of artificial intelligence.
Sure.
Because, you know, Gen AI and agentic AI and AI in general has become this sprawling beast. What we realized is that when you think about what is comprising today's artificial intelligence, it's really about the data lake.
Yeah.
It's taking multiple different sources of data, combining them, fusing them together in new and different, better ways, and then generating a whole new slew of information and knowledge. HYCU is thrilled to plan here today and to announce we're going to become the world's #1 leader in AI recovery. We're going to make it easier than anybody else worldwide to make sure your data is protected, no matter what data lake you're using, no matter what data you're ingesting, and no matter what you do with it. And we think that's going to create a more solid world for artificial intelligence going forward.
Terabytes and terabytes of data. Now, as we stand here in April, nearing the end of the first half of 2025, what is going on in HYCU today? That's obviously a big mountain to climb. What are you excited about that's happening inside of the business?
Oh my gosh, so much. I think the last time we spoke, we talked about launching these 86 different integrations, but some of the biggest partnerships and relationships had only just begun to kick off.
Yeah.
So we started this year by signing the Dell ETC Extended Technologies Partnership. And, I'm so thrilled to announce that today there are literally 3,000 sellers across the world at Dell who are actively pushing, managing, and incorporating HYCU into their daily lives, into their customers' daily lives. So that's huge. I think the second thing is that we've built a really strong partnership with a company called iManage. And, iManage is not a household name, but in the legal space, there's almost no law firm in the world that doesn't use them to manage all their content.
Very cool.
So this is some of the world's most sensitive content because it's lawyers holding all your data.
Yeah.
HYCU is the world's first and only provider of backup and recovery for all of iManage. So I think what we're starting to see is that what started as this idea to have all these SaaS integrations and have our own marketplace is slowly becoming this snowball where more and more SaaS companies are coming to HYCU and saying, we don't have a way to provide backup and recovery to our customers. Can you help? And the simple answer is that because of our relationship with Anthropic, because of the way we enrich the development process in a low-code fashion, we can help any SaaS company to very quickly get to market with a true end-to-end data protection platform that is really industrial grade, meaning it works for the enterprise, it works in government, it works in Fed. So I think this is a phenomenal and exciting year for us. And it's really, as we like to say at HYCU, it's go time. This is the time to move.
Definitely. Now, you've learned a lot in your career and had some great insights for us when we spoke last time. So much is changing now with AI, the explosion of data. What is maybe one of those more recent learnings that has caused you to think further about the strategy that you're deploying, rethink things that you would pass back to up and coming operators, other founders today about how to better see the world?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is understanding the true impact of empathy. There's been a lot of discussion in the news recently about whether or not it's important to be an empathic culture, whether or not you should just be driving and hard charging and go for every nickel and dollar. We believe at HYCU that relationships are ultimately what win. We are all human beings at the end of the day, regardless of politics, technical persuasions, what you're interested in. But if you view your customer and your partner through the lens of an empathic relationship, meaning I put myself in your shoes, I walk a mile in your shoes to understand what you need and what's important to you, ultimately, we believe here at HYCU that that is going to stand us in good stead for the long term.
Definitely. And as we progress through the month and meet other members of your team, how can we help you? How can we help the HYCU team grow in Boston and beyond?
I was at a dinner recently with a local bank and we were discussing exactly the same concept. I think Boston is still underserved by Silicon Valley. I think we've been very fortunate in getting to work with Bain Capital Ventures and A Crew, Having Enrique Salem and Teresa Gao both on our board has been amazing.
Yeah.
But not every Boston venture has that opportunity. And so what I would say is we need more press about Boston. We need to understand where Boston rocks, which is cybersecurity, data science, data protection. We've got the best feeder systems in the world when it comes to MIT and Harvard and 300 other universities and colleges. We need to bring the investment community here to us. And I think that that's a combined effort between the companies themselves, between organizations like yourself, Matt, and the media at large. We've got to work harder at this. We've got to push harder at this. We need to build a true Boston technology ecosystem, and it really does take a village.
Couldn't have said it better myself. This is Simon Taylor from HYCU, Matt Crane from MGMT Boston. Thank you so much for joining us, and it's a pleasure to spotlight you guys this month.
Pleasure to be here, Matt. Thank you as always.